Okay, I'm trying a whole new method of recording, and one of my many tens of subscribers sent me this so that he can hear me better, and I hope this works out for you. At any rate, I think what we'll talk about today, or rather what I'll talk about today, is the last job that I had, which was in Austin around 4 Points Drive, SailPoint Technologies, LLC. At any rate, I was top case closer 4 out of 6 years. The last bit that I was there, the last 6 months, however long it was, I was on the VIP cases. That's 2 guys out of 30 worldwide that they had working VIP cases. You're not going to give your biggest clients to people who really don't cut the mustard, as it were. Now, the case closing thing, the first year I was there, I wasn't the top case closer, but the rest of the time I managed to do that out of, like I said, 30 people. I was on top. The last time I got beat by Teresa, and she's great. So I was in trouble there anyway. So I made number 2 that year, or I made it as number 2 of case closer that year, which is still not too terribly bad. When I got my company award, it said, the vice president said, the customers really love him. That was a direct quote from the vice president. So the customers love me. I got their cases done. I did all my work as an engineer. Apparently my peers were happy with my work as well. And I can't really figure out what happened, except that I got a call the day before I went on vacation, the last that I worked there. Now, this came about 2 months after my annual review, which, as every single one of my annual reviews, I was top notch. And I was again that February. And unfortunately, at the time, I had begun taking some of the VA medication for PTSD, and I felt that I wasn't at 100%. Now, I still got a great review. I was still doing great work. But for my personal bar, I felt that I could have done better, which I told my immediate supervisor about. I said that the VA had me on PTSD medication, and I was going to try to do better, get back into the number 1 slot. Maybe that was the cause for me dropping to number 2. However, 2 months later, this supervisor called the day before vacation and started talking about all kinds of crazy things, like I had taken too much vacation, which it turns out that the vacation policy was whatever he approved I could take. I could take a whole year off if he had approved it. So it was his own approval that I guess he was unhappy with, besides which I pointed out that there were several years where I took no vacation because of my dedication to the work. He came up with a few other excuses, which I easily answered right off the top of my head, that it all looked ridiculous. He then said he was going to put me on a performance plan. I said, send that over because I have an answer for everything. He didn't, but he did call back. And he talked about how maybe I was getting burned out and maybe I would think about leaving if they, gave me a few months severance and so on. He never mentioned anything other than that. I found out Monday when I tried to log in, apparently, after I called HR, apparently I was fired. He never said fired. He never said released. He never made any indication whatsoever that I was forced out, which there were no precipitating circumstances other than me telling him about PTSD 2 months prior. I did not get removed from the VIP team. That's the 2 of us that were working the VIP cases for the really, really big international clients. It was just a sudden dismissal, and I didn't even know I was fired for a little bit after because he didn't have the stones to actually say, we're letting you go, you're fired, or anything to indicate that. Now, I'm just telling you a story, and the sequence of events is fairly clear cut. If you have any questions, you can always ask Robert Andrew Locke. He goes by Andy Locke. He's in Austin, Texas, and he works for SailPoint Technologies Steel in 4 Points Drive. Hit him up, see what he's got to say, see what his side of the story is. I can't tell you his side. I can just tell you the facts of the case as I know them currently. Why he did that, that's something for you to ask him and for him to tell you.